order. First order of business is to roll call to establish a quorum. David Kraus,
Present.
William Barngrover, I am here. Philip Allen,
Present.
Laney Wood, Jason LeBrier,
Here.
Benjamin Guttery, and Melinda Julian. Okay, so we do have 5. We have a quorum this month, so we're able to go on. Next order is business is to address the audience participation. If you would like to address the commission, you need to check in over here and sign in, and they'll get your papers up here to me in a little bit, and we'll call when your item comes up. Next up is approval of minutes from May 14th meeting. Has everyone read through that? Okay, if there's no other corrections, we will entertain motions.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
It's been moved that we approve. And a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
so this new software will also allow you, once the second motion is made, to vote on your computers.
Oh, there. Okay.
Thank you. And now I will end the vote.
Well, this wasn't here last month. It wasn't working, so,
Yeah.
okay. All right, thank you. Okay, next item up, we will open a public hearing at 6:04 for consideration and action regarding a specific use permit to allow a tobacco shop at 1205D North Saginaw Boulevard.
Mr. Chairman, so this item was presented at the last P&Z meeting, and because there was not a full quorum, the applicant needed a supermajority to pass the item. He is not here. I don't think anyone else is here, but I'm going to just verify that. Is there someone here for this item? For 1205D North Saginaw Boulevard? No, okay. But the protocol was to remand this back, and if Bessie wants to go a little bit more in explaining the process.
Sure. Actually, would it be possible for us to go into executive session to discuss this item?
Want to go back to the executive session back here?
Okay. I just need
Okay.
y'all to
Yeah.
say we're going.
If you'll excuse us for a few minutes.
Well, I need you to read, so on your agenda, under item 5, there's some language you have to read. If you can, it's long, it's lengthy, but if you can read that just word for word into the record. I can hand it to you as well, if.
Okay, where are we at here? Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay.
Including.
Executive session is the consultation with attorney. The Planning and Zoning Commission may convene in executive section to conduct a private consultation with its attorney on any legally posted agenda item when the Planning and Zoning Commission seeks the advice of its attorney about pending or contemplated litigation or settlement offer, or on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body, excuse me, under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with provisions in Chapter 551, including the following items, and it's any posted item. Okay,
That's fine.
so
Okay.
we will
So
adjourn
then
for a
at
few minutes.
6:07, we're going to go into executive.
Okay. Okay, we have returned from executive section at 6:16 and the public hearing. Item 2A is still open, and I guess now we're ready to hear any comments?
So, Mr. Chairman, again, I don't think anyone is here to represent the applicant, but I will give a brief synopsis of the application item. So this is located at 1205D North Saginaw Boulevard. They're proposing in their application a specific use permit to allow a smoke shop, or I'm sorry, a tobacco shop, because we don't have a smoke shop designation in our permitted use table. It would fall under tobacco shop. Last time they briefly described some of the items. They were looking at more so like vapes and some other over-the-counter items that you could get. I think they had mentioned gummies and some other items. The general synopsis of our stance is the staff recommends denial. We've had a lot of situations where smoke shops have been coming in and they have not been keeping up with their side of when it comes to code enforcement. We've had a lot of issues. So because we've had a lot of issues, we foresee the issues to still continue with other smoke shops. And so that is our stance. If y'all have any other questions, we'll be able to answer some on the applicant side.
I'd also like to remind y'all that last time we had some written concerns from the community around where the smoke shop would be. Albertsons is right there, and Albertsons Legal sent us a letter expressing concern about this smoke shop or tobacco shop going into their lot and selling. Their expressed concern was tobacco products. When we clarified with them that this shop really wasn't selling that much tobacco, but it's actually more of a Kratom Delta 8 vaporizer shop, they said that didn't change their concerns. They were still in opposition. We also had some opposition from Joe's Pizza, which is also right in that area.
And I think my concern brought up last time too was that even though physical tobacco isn't only 15% of the sales, I believe that it violates the spirit of the agreement to have liquid tobacco and or nicotine and all those other kinds of things in there. Plus, I have a concern about the signage of Kratom, CBD, certain other things. So, yeah, that was my concern last time. Also, for the board members that weren't here, Albertsons actually has some sort of agreement with the developer when they came into the shopping center that there would not be tobacco stores in the shopping center. And so I felt like this kind of went around the spirit of that agreement by doing vapes. That's my 2 cents.
Okay, any other inputs? Any other questions, discussion from? Okay. Then we will close the public hearing at 6:20. And now entertain motions.
I make a motion to deny the special use permit, 2A. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so we moved and seconded that we recommend denial of the special use permit. All those in favor? I guess we just, here it is, but, yeah.
Just to be clear, if we're in favor of denying it, do we press yea or nay? I don't.
Vote for deny motion.
Deny.
If you're in favor of the motion to deny, you would vote yeah, yes.
Got it. I just wanted to be clear. This news, yeah.
Yes. Yes, so you would be voting for whatever the motion states.
Okay. And looks like that passed unanimously. Okay, next item up, we'll open up a public hearing at 6:21 for consideration and action regarding a request for a specific use permit to allow an auto rental at 1453 North Saginaw Boulevard, Suite 158. Okay, do we have anyone here for that? Okay.
So I'm just going to briefly present the item. So this SUP is to allow an auto rental at 1453. Just to set the scene, that is the property next to the Dollar Tree, near the CC's, behind the Walmart. And we do have a gentleman here from Avis to speak a little bit more in regards to what they're envisioning for the auto rental. Yes.
Can you hear me? Is it good? Yeah, so for Avis, basically there's parking on the
Mr.
back.
Chairman,
Yes.
I'm sorry, you would have to state your name
Oh, I'm
and,
sorry.
Yes, must
Thank
state your
you.
name and address, and we'll...
Chris Steves, Avis Budget Group. Address is 3937 South 26th Avenue, DFW Airport.
Okay, thank you.
And then the use we're looking for is, again, the parking would be towards the back corner of the lot, not used. It's behind the building to the side. And we've noticed that Saginaw does not have any rental car companies. Washing, there's a car wash about a mile down the road, so that's where all the washing would take place. We would vacuum things like that on site, but any car wash would be, any washing of the car would be down the road, and provide rental car opportunities for the Saginaw area. What questions can I answer?
So to be clear, that concrete triangle that's behind the Dollar Tree to the left of it, so back there, that is where the parking would be, but the store front would be, where the red dot is. Do you know what was formerly in there, or what's right next door to it? I know there was a Hibbett Sports there on the corner.
I think it was a sports equipment store. I'm not 100% sure, but I think sports equipment. And actually, the parcel will be split into two, and we'll be the ones the furthest west, so the closest to that back parking. And then there's a little opening that we'd be able to go right there with the customer.
And will this be Avis budget?
It would be Avis and budget.
Okay.
How many automobiles would you have on property?
Mr. Chairman, I apologize for, if you can speak into the microphone, this is being recorded to the public. The public won't be able to hear if you don't speak directly to the microphone. There is a button for you to press every time you're going to speak. It will turn green when it is ready. Thank you.
All right, so just to repeat again, how many automobiles would you have on property?
Approximately 15 during peak times would be the max cars, but the idea with rental cars, we want to rent the cars, we don't want them sitting in a parking lot.
And you would not perform any kind of maintenance there on the property? You haven't,
I'm sorry, say that again?
there would be no maintenance performed on the property there?
There'll be no maintenance performed on the property. We would, for like PMs and light tire stuff, we would probably seek local businesses to help us out with those items.
Yeah.
Other more severe items we take back to our maintenance facilities at DFW.
Okay,
And I do see on there, so the former Hibbett Sports, you're taking the western half of it.
Yes.
So it all would be on the far left, basically cornered up against Dollar Tree. So it would be a little bit to the left of that red dot.
Yes.
Is there going to be any signage out towards the road or?
We'll have, of course, signage on the storefront. I don't know if there's signage available on like the pillar signs on the road or not. If so, we would try to get signage in
Okay,
there,
but nothing additional?
no.
Okay.
see, this is part of the overlay district too, so the signage would be a monument sign only?
Yes, so this would be part of the overlay district, which is why they would need to get an SUP for this item. And they would have to follow regulations like signage and others depicted on that overlay district. And Mr. Chairman, I do have a question for Mr. Steve. In regards to parking, do y'all have something in place currently that's going to set those back parking lot for Avis budget? Or is that something that y'all are able to obtain?
As far as designating the spots?
Because it's currently all shared parking, correct?
Yeah, so currently, nobody really uses those spaces, and we even have something from the landlord that states that nobody's using those spaces. If necessary, we could do something to designate the spots, whether paint the concrete or put poles and signs on them. I'm not sure it would be necessary.
Yes. Just want to let everyone know that staff is neutral on this item. However, that neutrality only stands if there is something in regards to regulating that parking. Staff's fear would be if parking is allowed to be in that shared corridor where everyone else parks, then that would create a lot of traffic concerns.
Got it. Yeah, we could absolutely designate parking spaces.
And so if y'all whatever y'all decided, if y'all decided to approve that, that would have to be in the motion for the SUP.
To have dedicated parking spaces.
Yes, and whatever other designations y'all
Yes.
would like.
Okay. I think we can do that.
Can we talk amongst ourselves, or if we open that up?
Well, let's get this through the
Yes.
hearing first. Okay, any other questions for? Okay, thank you, I think. Okay, we are now closing the public hearing at 6:28. Okay, now we can have discussion. Any other questions amongst ourselves here?
I guess I just want to point out, I've actually kind of sneaked through there a lot. I take Knowles straight through the light to the back of Walmart's parking lot and drive past there when I need to get to Sally Beauty Supply or the cell phone store, or even I use PNC Bank that's in there. And I often don't see any cars
Right.
parked back there. Sometimes I'll see someone loading and unloading something in a van or in a truck. And as the applicant states, the site was selected due to the, what appears to be open parking. I also know, I had some hail damage this last year, had to drive to Richland Hills for a rental car. So it would be nice, I think, for our residents to have a rental car business, and they're talking about supporting other Saginaw businesses like the car wash and other places. So,
Right. Yes, I too have driven through there a couple times and seen that there's been very few, if any, cars ever in the backside, but also has access easily to the front side, that gap in the two buildings there, so. Okay. If any other questions? If not, we'll entertain motions, if it's
Mr.
to be
Chairman,
approved. Yes?
I apologize. City Attorney Bronstein, there is someone in the audience that wanted to participate in the audience participation. I know it's closed, so I wanted you to give that answer.
Sure. So the public hearing has already been closed on this item. If the chair or the board feels inclined to reopen it, to allow the audience to participate, you may, but you are under no obligation to do so once the public hearing has been closed.
Well, I think we can reopen the public hearing again at 6:30. And we have one more wants to hear, wants to speak. Yeah, please state your name and address.
Yes. My name is Angel Somkam. I'm a property manager for the shopping center. And we work with Avis for at least 6 months already. And we've been discussed for anything that we can support. And the owner has seen that with the use, we support the shopping center and the community. And we discussed quite in details how we can assign the parking in the back. As you mentioned, that there's not a lot of activity in the back, and our parking lots in the back quite wide open. We already assigned certain spot for them to park. And we think with that kind of business, we bring good activity to the shopping center and safety as well that we have, because right now in the front parking, we extremely busy. And when we assign them to the back, since they will take the corner of the building, and they can have access from the back for the rental car. So I think this would be very, very supportive to the business of the shopping center and community.
Thank you. Okay, now we will reclose the public hearing at 6:31. And I do have one reply form here from TSCA-253LP, and they are in favor. That actually puts an active tenant in using the spaces in the rear of the center, so they're in favor of it. Okay. So if no other discussions, we have open entertainment motions, which would need to include specific parking space allotments in the rear of the parking area.
Yes, and this would also be the time if y'all wanted to add any limitations to the amount of parking designated or any other notions that y'all see fit.
I make a motion to approve the special use permit, 2B, to allow auto rental at 1453 North Saginaw Boulevard, Suite 158, with the understanding that the shopping center sets aside 15 parking spots in the northwest corner of the parking lot specifically for a this budget. Do I have a second?
Is there a second on this?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the SUP with addition of parking spaces allotted in that rear parking lot, and recommend approval. All those in favor? Yes, we vote, don't we?
That's going to take some getting used to.
Okay, looks like we have a unanimous approval. All right, thank you. All right, next item up, we open a public hearing at 6:34 for consideration and action regarding a request for a specific use permit to allow an event center at 548 South Saginaw Boulevard. Staff have any comments?
Mr. Chairman, this item is located at 548 South Saginaw Boulevard. That's in the shopping center where the Delicia's Market is, and some other churches, the collections. And they are proposing an event center that would host some events such as small gatherings, quinceañeras, small weddings. But we do, I believe, have someone from the audience. And so I will, at this time, invite her to speak into the podium and share with us more about the details.
Okay. Yes, please state your name and address.
Hi, everyone. My name is Elsie Visas. To the location that is 548 South Saginaw Boulevard. So actually, this is just going to be a small gatherings for small weddings, any type of gatherings, either commercial people who wants to have a small gatherings for their meetings. Basically, we are not trying to make this really huge. We just want people to be able to feel comfortable and be able to come in and have their parties and all that kind of stuff.
I have a question.
Sure, please.
By small, what is your definition of maximum people?
Actually, we were thinking from 100, 150, but since those gatherings will be in the evening, it's not a lot of people that will be coming in, and let's say the corporate is just gonna be like 10, 15, 20. That's, as an event planner, that's how much I've seen doing an event for, let's say the corporate. But then, as me saying 100 people, it's not all 100 people that is going to be in there. It's a 6,700 square foot space, so it's a lot of people that can be in there. But we try to, limit the number of people that can stay in the building.
Mr. Chairman, Member Cross, their application said that they can take a maximum of 150 people.
I have a question. I believe in the packet you referenced another location in Houston. Is that correct? That's operating, that showed kind of a design of what the interior would look like?
Yes, please.
I'm curious, is that something that you're operating in Houston?
No, please, that is not.
Okay, that's just a separate entity.
Yes,
You're
please.
just showing what the design would look like.
Yes, please.
Okay. In the packet, I think I read there would be, food is available, but that would be,
People will be bringing in their own, whoever is hosting will be bringing in their own food. No alcohol. You bring it, it's a BYO the alcohol thing, so there will not be like buying alcohol or anything. And even if it's alcohol, we try to put it in the cups, not in a bottle. We just don't want anything that will mess up the place, the committee as well, and we just.
so alcohol, beer, wine, liquor, anything?
No, please. It's just they will bring in their own alcohol, but it's not like we're gonna have it in place to sell it out or anything.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Another question, what about security? Is private security required?
Yes, please. On the event date, we will have, from the start to the end, we will have full security over there. We will have our own 24-hour security also showing. We will make sure that people are staying indoor instead of being outside. So we try to create the entranceway where we have a curtains so that people can have a small space over there to be chatted on the phone or talking on the phone or any side of communication there.
Now, when you say security, are you referencing like off-duty police officers? What constitutes security?
Yes, we will try to contact the security office and a police, whoever will be able to, assist us with that. But our main concern is security, so we will go with the police instead so that people will know that we are taking things very serious.
Okay. And I'm sorry to ask questions if you all have follow-ups. Last question I have is, are you anticipating a number of events? Are you targeting one event a week, 2 events, primarily on the weekends?
Events normally are hosted on weekends, unless corporate people who wants to do it on the, let's say from Monday through Friday, which they really want to host a small gatherings or meetings in there. But normally events are hosted on the weekend basis. And then targeting the 100 people, like I said, it's not all the 100 people that will be coming in there. It depends on the invite that the person, send out, how the invite will look like.
Okay.
Yes, please.
I guess my one concern with the alcohol sales is because you're not selling, then it's unregulated. So now you have nobody that's in charge of the consumption rates during a party. The security's going to watch for potential problems, but they're not going to be watching for consumption rates of guests at a wedding. And anyone who's been to a wedding understands how that can get out of hand fairly easily. So that's where my concern lies,
Yes, please.
with the alcohol sales being part of the property.
Yes, so please, we will have a bartender over there. We will make sure that the people, what they are taking in is also more important because we consider people's health. So the number of, we're gonna have a bartender over there that will be watching all over this, and we cannot let people, let's say, take more than 2 to 3 shots or for that. So for the alcohol, even though they bring in their own alcohol, we want to make sure that the bartender is making, having a close attention to people who are taking a lot of alcohol in there. So he has to make sure that this person is not taking over 2 or more alcohol in there, 1 per each, not full bottle, but then a small alcohol.
So if they want to bring a 12-pack of beer to the wedding, they got to walk in and hand it to a bartender who's then going to pass it out back to them?
No, so for the alcohol part, once they bring in their own alcohol, we want to because we have to limit the intake of alcohol, so we will only suggest some type of alcohols, let's say the beers, and, that is not way over 4% of the alcohol rate. So we want to make sure that once they bring it in, the bartender will inspect if that is okay or not. If that is not okay, we're not going to allow it in there.
So like there's restaurants in town that are BYOB, Joe's Pizza and Pasta, you bring a bottle of wine with your spouse, they don't know if you're chugging back the whole bottle or not. I kind of been looking at this like that, but I do want to ask our lawyer, while you're up here, the city lawyer, is there anything regarding BYOB businesses that we need to consider? And if it is a certain amount of people, let's say a bar mitzvah of 12 people or a corporate meeting of 15 people versus a wedding with 150 people, is there anything on the books where once it hits a certain amount of people, they have to hire a bartender? Or they have to have 2 security per 50 people, or is there anything like that to consider?
So there's nothing that requires additional security. Whenever you have a bartender serving alcohol, you have TABC involved. So kind of actually what I've been understanding this to be isn't an idea of having everyone bringing their own alcohol. It's having the host supply alcohol to a bartender who is then doling out alcohol. That bartender and the venue, if there is alcohol being served in a venue, is going to have very specific insurance tied to that alcohol permit. So you have special permits for sale of alcohol, but you also have this BYOB situation. So while they would not be required to have normally their own alcohol license if it's a BYOB venue, that's why you have restaurants that are BYOB. They don't want to handle the permit and the insurance that comes with it. A bartender who is serving alcohol is going to be insured, or they should be insured. TABC keeps an eye on those things. That's not something the city itself regulates, but. The bartender would have to be. They'd have to at least have their TABC certification. TABC is the one who really regulates that. I can tell you I've worked with TABC in other cities. They keep a close eye on these things, but that's not something the city would be regulating necessarily. I don't frankly know if it's appropriate to regulate their alcohol sales because they're not selling the alcohol themselves. If they were a bar, we'd be able to come in and say you can't sell past a certain amount. But am I correct in my interpretation that you're intending the bartender to be doling out the alcohol?
Yes, please.
So I think you always have those risks in any venue of people going out to their car and drinking. That is a crime in itself, right? That's public intox and public consumption. It's a Class C crime, to be clear. It's a ticket. But if we, there's noise ordinances as well. There's nuisance ordinances that would be governing the parking lot. sound past a certain time, something like that. If they are getting rowdy in the parking lot, I suspect that Saginaw PD is more than happy to sit in that parking lot and write tickets for people being loud, and regulate people who they believe may be driving their way out of there.
So I have another kind of question and concern. So to be clear about where this space is, this is at end cap of the shopping center where the church used to be.
Yes,
This is
please.
directly behind Taco Casa. So with it being on the corner, will your security and your business be monitoring to make sure that guests are not parking on Palomino Drive? They're parking in the parking lot
Yes, please. So
or the neighborhood behind it?
no, there's a tons of parking lot in front of us, so we will make sure, 100% make sure that people park over there. Behind the building, there is a hole over there, which we're gonna make sure that people are gonna know that they cannot even park there. Beside it is a road, and the next, what do you call it? Another, I think, the gym area. Once we go over that, it's kind of be like encroachment. We cannot do certain things because business is business. So we want to make sure that people park to where we ask them to park. We will put signs over there, and we will not go over because that is encroachment. We cannot do things that we can get sued for.
And, the church used to have regular attendance over 150 or around that number, so I don't have a problem really with that number. My next question is, I see in the application that the events could be until 2 a.m. So is there anything that, like with the previous thing, we said something in addition with approval, it means have this. Is there anything that we can set as far as time? Because, corporate events, weddings, bar mitzvahs and stuff like that, 2 a.m. to me seems a little.
So,
late even for that.
you can always set restrictions on things. I don't know that, I'm as concerned about the 2 a.m. thing, and you do have noise ordinances in Saginaw. And I'll pull the curtain back. I'm your prosecutor out here. I do all of your prosecution out here. Your code department is very prolific out here. So you do have noise ordinances that would govern sound. If people in that neighborhood over there are complaining about sound or the bass is shaking their windows, the city is going to be out there fining them. And those fines they can fine you every day for every offense, constantly. And I know that that's not something that the applicant is going to want to deal with, because those fines do get very expensive, and then eventually they attract the ire of the council, and the revocation of things. So you can limit timing. I'm a little wary of that being something you do, because you have a right to gather in places and you have a right to market things, because this is not a bar, and because this is not, a sexually oriented business. I'm wary of the board actually restricting hours on something. I think that maybe a more appropriate thing would be to restrict sound levels, with the observation of nuisance ordinances in the city of Saginaw.
Say that with parties over X amount, it's required that the alcohol is here, or would that also be kind of crossing the line?
So it would be that with a party.
The city will
Yeah.
take care of the sound ordinances. I
Yeah.
don't see why we'd have to add any more restrictions personally.
Yeah, I'll let y'all discuss that. I don't think it's an unlawful restriction, but I don't know that it is necessary, I guess. But that's for y'all to decide. But I don't think it would be unlawful to restrict that. I think it just may be more than, I'll let y'all see what you want to do about that.
Okay. Any further questions? Okay, thank you. I do have one reply form here that was sent in from Janie Huff at 505 South Hampshire. Is opposed to this SUP, and reasons, it's quite lengthy, hang on. I live on the section of South Hampshire directly behind the shopping center, and I have safety concerns regarding a special use permit. The area and the shopping center are both very busy with traffic in this area, not to mention when Saginaw Boulevard is backed up, which is frequently, and traffic detours by using South Hampshire. I'm concerned about the, I'm not sure what that word is here, parking in the center. Another concern is an increase in people looking for trouble. We already have to deal with the apartment complex, game room, and drivers racing down the street, running stop signs. I don't believe the Saginaw Police Department is large enough to deal with the problems we already have. End quote. So that has been,
I'll just note,
we have no other questions.
before we close, I note that we have some people in the audience. I just want to make sure we don't have to. read
Anyone want to
everything.
address?
No? Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll then close the public hearing at 7:52.
6:52.
You're right, I'm sorry, 6:52. That was in Eastern time.
You're good.
Spent too many times traveling back and forth with Lockheed, so.
I'd like to make a motion to approve 2C, consideration and action regarding a request for a specific use permit to allow an event center at 548 South Saginaw Boulevard.
Do we have a second?
Second.
There's a second. Okay. Then we can now vote. And it looks like it's unanimous. We will then recommend approval for a specific use permit for an event center at 548 South Saginaw Boulevard to the council. Okay, thank you. That takes care of all of our public hearings and other business. I guess we're now ready for staff report.
Mr. Chairman, a lot of these updates are similar to last month's. The items that do stand out are Miller Milling. Their public utilities are 100% complete, and they are now working on infrastructure. Another item that had made really quick progress is the Shell building at 1480 Old Decatur Road. I don't know if you've driven by there, but all the utilities are set, and the developer is working on infrastructure and the switch yard improvements. The pavilion is up, and it currently irrigation and landscape is in progress. If y'all don't have any other questions in regards to any other projects, then that would conclude my report.
Okay.
I guess I just would really like it on the record because it kind of fits under my skin a little bit. But one of the things in this update is about Tricon Saginaw, which is the 4 rental homes on McElroy. I was at the groundbreaking 2 years ago. It was supposed to be called Harwood, and now it's called Tricon Saginaw. And I brought this up a couple of times. So I just wanted it on the record.
Mr. Chairman, yes, so the name has changed actually twice. It started with Villas of Willow Creek, then it transferred to Hardwick, and now the official name is Tricon.
Yeah.
But if no one else has any other questions or comments, then that would conclude my report.
Okay.
And that would just lead to the next item.
Okay. And project, we've already had our executive sessions. It just leaves us for adjournment. If there's no other questions for her.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion to adjourn.
Now we get to vote. And we all want to go home. We are adjourned.
I
Thank you.
was waiting to see who was going to vote no on that. No, I want to stay here.
I want to say one